So hello everyone, in this audio class we will discuss the 20 most important questions from the chapter Map Scale Practical Geography. These questions will be very much important for your upcoming KVS and NVS geography interview. So let's get started with the question number 1. What is a map scale and why is it important? So map scale is the ratio between the distance on a map and the corresponding distance on the ground. It is an essential element of a map because it enables us to measure and interpret the real world distances accurately. For example, if the scale is 1:50,000, it means that 1 semi on the map represents 50,000 centimeter on the ground. Without scale, a map is only a sketch and cannot provide accurate geographical information. Next question, what are the major methods of expressing scale? So there are three methods: statement of scale, representative fraction, and graphical or bar scale. Each method expresses the relationship between map distance and ground distance in a different way. For example, statement scale is equal to 1 centimeter represents 1 kilometer, RF scale 1:1 lakh, and graphical scale distance shown by a line divided into equal parts. Next question, which method is considered the simplest method of expressing scale? So the statement of scale is considered the simplest method because it expresses the relationship directly in words. For example, 1 semi represents 10 kilometer. It can easily be understood by a common person without mathematical calculations. However, it becomes invalid if the map is enlarged or reduced. Next question, why is representative fraction is called a universal method? So representative fraction is called a universal method because it is independent of any system of measurement. For example, 1:50,000 means 1 unit on map is equal to 50,000 units on ground. The unit may be centimeter, meter, inch or kilometer. Therefore, people of different countries can understand it without converting units. Next question, what are the advantages of representative fraction? So representative fraction has two major advantages. It is universally accepted. It can be easily converted into any unit system. For example, RF 1:1 lakh, that means 1 centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer, 1 inch is equal to 1 lakh inches. Thus it provides flexibility and accuracy. Next question, what is a graphical or bar scale? So a graphical scale is a line divided into equal parts showing map distance and corresponding ground distance. It allows direct measurement without calculation. A bar scale may be show 1, 2, 3, 4 kilometer. A divider can be used to measure distance directly from the map. Next question, what is the graphical scale considered? Why is graphical scale considered superior to statement scale? So a graphical scale remains correct even if the map is enlarged or reduced. The statement scale becomes inaccurate after enlargement or reduction. Therefore, graphical scale is more reliable. For example, a photocopied map may distort the statement scale, but the bar scale changes proportionally and remains usable. Next question, differentiate between large scale and small scale maps. So large scale map shows small area and small scale map shows large area. Large scale map shows more details and small scale map shows less details. Large scale map smaller. In large scale map, the denominator is smaller, and in small scale map the larger denominator is found. For example, 1:10,000 is a large scale map and 1:1 lakh or 10 lakh it is a small scale map. A village cadastral map is a large scale map, whereas a world map is a small scale map. Next question, why does a large scale map show more detail? So in a large scale map, the ground area represented by one unit on the map is relatively small. Therefore, more features can be shown clearly. For example, roads, wells, schools, houses and fields can be shown on a village map with scale 1:10,000. Next question, why does a small scale map show less details? So a small scale map covers a very large area, therefore many features must be generalized. For example, on a world map, individual villages and roads cannot be shown, only major countries, oceans and cities are represented. Next question, how can a statement of scale be converted into RF? So first convert the both distances into the same unit. For example, 1 semi is equal to 5 kilometer. That means 5 kilometer is equal to 5 lakh centimeter. Therefore RF 1 is to 5 lakh. This method is frequently used in practical geography. Next question, how can RF be converted into statement of scale? Convert the denominator into a suitable ground unit. For example, 1 is to 1 lakh. That means 1 lakh centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer. Therefore 1 centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer. That becomes the statement of scale. Next question, what is meant by scale conversion? So scale conversion means changing of one form of scale into another form. For example, statement scale to RF scale or RF to graphical scale. This is important in map projection and interpretation. Next question, why should map distance and ground distance be expressed in the same unit while calculating RF? So representative fraction is a pure ratio. Ratio can only be calculated when both quantities are expressed in the same unit. For example, 1 semi is equal to 1 kilometer cannot be written directly. First convert 1 kimi is equal to 1 lakh centimeter, then RF 1 is to 1 lakh. Next question, what is the significance of scale in geographical studies? So scale helps geographers measure distance, calculate area, prepare maps, compare regions. Without scale, quantitative geographical analysis is impossible. For example, the distance between Delhi and Kolkata can be estimated accurately only through scale. Next question, why is scale called the skeleton of a map? So scale provides the basic framework for representing geographical features accurately. Just as a skeleton supports the human body, scale supports the accuracy of a map. Without scale, spatial relationships cannot be measured. Next question, how does scale influence the amount of information shown on a map? So the larger the scale, the greater the detail. The smaller the scale, the lesser the detail. For example, a topographical map shows contours, roads and settlements. A world map cannot show these details. Next question, what practical applications of map scale do you teach students? So I explained that scale is useful for measuring road distances, planning routes, land surveys, urban planning, disaster management. For example, students can estimate the distance between their school and railway station using map scale. Next question, if you were teaching map scale in class 11, how would you make it interesting? So I begin with a simple question. If a distance between two places on a map is 5 centimeter, how can we know the real distance? Then I would use school campus map, Google Maps, measuring scale, practical exercises. This activity-based approach helps students understand the concept easily. Next question, and this is the last question for today. Why is map scale considered one of the most fundamental concepts in geography? So map scale connects the map with the real world. It allows accurate measurement, comparison and interpretation of geographical phenomena. Every geographical analysis involving distance, area or location depends on scale. Therefore, scale is one of the most fundamental concepts in cartography and geography. There is a bonus closing line for this gist of this lesson. Scale is the mathematical relationship between the map distance and ground distance. It is the foundation of cartography because it converts geographical reality into a measurable representation on a map. So thanks for listening. Keep listening for further audio classes. Thank you.